Hi, Quadcopter 101 here, doing the first review, my first review of the Syma X11C. The X11C is actually no different than its brother, the X11, the cameraless X11. Everything is the exact same, except now we have a camera installed in this belly bay, where before the belly bay on the X11 was empty. Also, the controller. These buttons here used to be dummy buttons on the X11 controller. Now they actually work. You can hear them clicking. So downward is for video and upward is for taking photos. Okay, so let's go into a demonstration flight of the X11C and see how it performs with the added weight of that camera, first of all, and also do some, demonstration of its video, aerial video. It has a 2 megapixel camera loaded in there, an HD camera, 2 megapixel, and let's see how that works in aerial video. So let's give it a flight. Okay, the quadcopter has been bound. Being a 6-axis quadcopter, I'm going to test it first with a hand toss to see if it can be hand tossed. That was a rotten hand toss, but yes, it can. I'm in low rate mode, and I'm going to stick with low rate mode for the beginning here. See how it performs. Now, what I liked about the X11 was its extreme stability. This one also seems to be somewhat stable in low rate mode. I haven't gone to high rate mode yet. Let's test its range here. We'll go down the field here. First off, this controller seems to what's the word I'm trying to use for it? It's not as, you can't do as sensitive flying as you can with the X11C controller. I noticed that. It makes right-hand turns pretty sloppily, actually. Let me see if I can show that. Okay, I take that back. It's doing right-hand turns very nicely. Let's try the camera. The camera's recording right now. A little bit of VRS there, vortex ring state, and that's to be expected. It's got a camera it's lifting now, so this isn't quite as steady in flight as its brother, the X11. Okay, let's go to high rate. Send it down the field and then bring it right back up the field again. It seemed to get stuck in a turn there, which is kind of unusual. I think it's this controller, this particular controller seems to have issues. I'm going to give this another try, another flight, using the stock X5C controller. Let's see if it performs a little bit better with that controller after this battery dies. I'm going to turn off the camera right now, and the battery is gone. Okay, I'm going to put another battery in. This time I'm going to fly this with the X5C controller to see if I can get more steady flight. I've noticed some issues using this little gamepad controller here, that it's kind of hard to do some fine turns. This thing tends to turn on its own here if you're not too careful with the rudders. So let's try the X5C controller and see if that works any better. Okay, for this flight, I'm going to use the Syma X5C controller to see if I can get more fine control over the rudder turns of the X11C. This stock controller, I was noticing, sometimes it would overcorrect, especially in a turn. So I want to see if this is any better. Quadcopter's been bound. I'm going to activate the video camera right now. And let's go for a flight. Oh yes. Right away I notice much better control over this quadcopter with this X5C controller. So the issue with the control issue seems to be with that particular controller. It may be just my controller, but this is much more of a joy to fly with this particular controller. Something unusual there. Okay. I cut the throttle too much. Now, the X11, keep in mind the X11 doesn't have the weight of a camera to balance. So this one is not quite as docile as the X11 is. It's a little more wiggly because of the way that camera. I'm going to high rate. There we go, high rate. Let's try it with high rate. I'm turning off the camera too. Let's bring it in close enough, turn off the camera. And turning off the camera now. Let's fly around in high rate now. To see how it performs with the weight of that camera. Again, it is somewhat more wiggly. It's not as, see that? It's trying to lift the camera, and also this battery might be getting a little bit weak after recording. But the way the camera does affect the flight performance, keep that in mind. If you want the camera, there's a trade-off there. You got to pay for the weight of that camera in terms of flight performance. See a little wiggle there? I'm trying to do funnels. It doesn't do funnels as good as its little brother. So it's just important to remember. If the camera's important, you gotta pay for that with a little bit of a trade-off in flight performance. And that battery is getting weak. Oh, maybe not. That was a little wind it was trying to fight. So, this is the X11C. Has an HD camera, but the added weight does affect its flight performance somewhat. Keep that in mind. And that was to be expected, though. You know, it's always best with a vertical takeoff aircraft to keep weight to a minimum. And the added weight does always affect flight performance. Excuse me. So I think that's enough demonstration of it for now. Come in here. Quadcopter 101 with the X11C signing out.